gentlemen, I apologize if I get big coughing fits and stuff as we start this next video. I'm feeling like 10 kinds of garbage right now, but I got to get this video done for you guys because some people have gone out to buy Cut the Wire and they're like, how do you use it? So, let's get to my new guild battle game. And I decided to call it Don't Blow It. A bomb pun because I love puns. So, what do you need to play? Well, the first thing is you need to try to get your hands on this game. This game's called Cut the Wire. It's literally it's really good for teaching actually electricity because you just break circuits when you break the connections and you get your little snips, and it also comes with the dice, but you don't need the dice for the way I play. So here's just kind of the way I use it. Why do I say you need to try to track this down is because I guess there was a bit of an uproar with some people in different parts of North America, and it actually doesn't ship to Canada and a lot of parts of North America. I think actually a full North American ban. Because people find it controversial. I have used this with multiple kids. No one sees a problem. Actually, one kid said, why can we have violent video games and movies and crazy provocative music videos, but this toy bomb game is a problem? And I thought that was a really good point. So find yourself Cut the Wire if you can find it, hang on to it and be careful. It is a fragile game. I had a little nick that kind of got into one of these things. What else do you need in the way I play? You need a 6-sided dice, or for me I use 6 because I have 5 guilds, or if you have 4 guilds you want 4-sided, or whatever the case may be, depending on the amount of teams or guilds you have, you need a dice that represents that. You need yourself a marker, you need yourself 5 papers, or again, however many guilds you have, just little blank, nothing fancy, just a square with a number on it to represent the guild number, or name if you want. And you need your whiteboard. So, how do we play Don't Blow It? See, it's a lot of fun, and there's a little bit of stress and the unexpected portion of it, which keeps the game exciting all the way to the end. So the first thing you do is every team gets a whiteboard, and they write 100 on it. What was my methodology behind this was to create that bombs blow up things to gain access. So I said this represents a wall or a barrier. Whatever the theme of your game is, you can go ahead and pick it in any way, shape, or form. For me, it was just like it's a wall to your castle. And the first thing that all the kids had to do was, as a guild, they had to submit 3 cards. One had to be categorically, excuse me, categorically I have some called legendary. So they had to submit a legendary card at minimum, so they didn't give me kind of 3 lower use cards, for example. So that means in my 5 guilds I had a total of 15 cards. So each piece of paper with a 1 was put on my front desk so kids couldn't touch it, or a 2, 3, 4, and 5. And the 3 cards that they're submitting to the game were laid about. The wall to protect these cards is this board. So the objective to win the game is to have the highest number left on this board. And you can add or take away from this number. So once they've submitted their 3 cards total per team, and they've got their whiteboard with the 100, I pull up my trivia questions. And I roll a dice and I see who goes first. So, the first team to go answers my trivia question. If they can answer the trivia question, they come up to the bomb and they have to snip one of the wires. Now there are 9 wires total. There's 3 possible outcomes. One is you defuse the bomb. So one of these, when the game starts, and resets, and you cut it, it will play kind of a happy song and it'll indicate that you've defused the bomb. If you do that, you gain strength in your wall. So if that's what happens, you get plus 25 to your wall. If you cut a neutral wire, so a wire will just kind of go beep beep, and then the music that is playing will restart. That means you've cut a neutral wire. It's not disarmed, it hasn't blown up, so you add 10 to your wall total. And then you have what's called the detonation wire, or the bomb wire, which is if you cut it, the bomb flashes red and it's, and I think it even says, oh no, in like this weird game machine voice. That happens, you actually lose strength because the wall blows up and takes away a bit of your strength on the wall. So what I have, and this can be any number you choose, I happen to have a 30-sided dice. So what I do is I roll the 30-sided dice and I multiply the number by 1, so whatever I roll is what they get, and it's subtracted from their total. So if they cut the bomb wire and they rolled a 26, they remove 26 from their wall. The question came up early in the class where they said, what if we blow the bomb up like 5 times? And I was like, well, you'll take away. They're like, that's not fair. Like, it should be, we're not good at this, so we should have another consequence. So what you can do if you choose is, if let's say Guild 2 blows up the bomb on round 1, and then round 3, guild 2 blows up the ball again, they actually asked me to increase this multiplier. So the first time your group detonates the bomb, it's 1. The second time, it's 1.5. The third time, it's 2. And actually, kids really enjoyed this. It was pretty funny. And again, that was a kid idea. Now, the question goes, well, what happens if you get a question wrong? So if you get a question wrong, you still have to snip a wire. The downfall to getting it wrong is that even if you cut the diffuse or the neutral wire, you do not get any points. The only outcome that can happen is that if you cut the bomb wire or the trigger wire and it blows up, you lose the 20. So I always say diffuse has no positive, only the negative of the bomb wire. And this came about because when kids were getting questions wrong, they weren't cutting the wire, so they weren't moving their score potentially. And it was actually to the benefit of the first class I played this that just was like, oh, we passed, we don't know the answer, so they wouldn't cut the wire, and in turn, it was to their advantage. So we fixed that pretty quickly, because now you had a chance, especially if it was down to 2-3 wires left, which does actually happen. So I needed some consequence for the cards. So if your bomb blows up, I go back to my dice that represents the number of guilds I have. So let's say in this example, guild number 2 blows up the bomb. And I'm going to roll a dice, and let's say it lands on 4. What that means is the guild will have 10 seconds, guild number 4, to run up to the front of the room where I have all of the cards, and they, because of the bomb, get access to the wall, behind the wall, grab one of the cards from that team, and it's now theirs. So you can have mini rewards throughout the game, or if you are the team when the bell goes or the game is over that has the highest number of wall strength or total left, you win all of the remaining cards. I don't say this until the end, because then kids sometimes inadvertently put really good cards. And that, again, I love core drivers, that unpredictability of, oh my gosh, that's why you did that, is pretty funny. So I like to keep that. Here again is just a little reminder, each guild submits 3 cards to their wall, the winning guild gets the whole thing. Or, I'm going to be talking about this more in my next video about health systems and boss battles. If you have a health tracking system, what you can do is you can have it so that you can offer them the cards, or they can return the cards to each player and instead gain health. Because these typically happen, well not typically, they always happen for me before a test. And since my tests are monsters that take damage if you get questions wrong, this is an actual good advantage for kids to have the ability to turn around and say, okay, I want to actually increase my health. So that's another option that you can use if you want. So the game is a lot of fun. Like I said, you write 100 on the board, you get the question. You get it right, plus 25. Neutral wire, plus 10, blow up the bomb. Multiplier times the dice of your choice. Big numbers are always fun. Get it wrong, you still have to defuse the bomb, and you still only are allowed the negatives. And then again, the submitting the cards, which ends up being the prize or health. So I will take you into a little bit of action of this, and it's not the most exciting. I had one of the craziest finishes ever though, and my camera died in filming it, and I wish you guys could have seen the kids' reaction. With 1 minute left, my group in the middle was tied with the group beside them. So they got the question right, snipped and defused the bomb, so they went up by 25 points. The bell went, and I said, okay, here's your last shot, guys, knowing the odds were 1 out of 9. It was incredibly low, the odds. So they got the question right, and they clipped the wire. The class blew up, not literally, hypothetically, because they also defused the bomb, so they tied. So if you run into a tie, the scenario is to reactivate the game and start a snip-off of cut, cut, cut until you either blow up the bomb or defuse it, whichever one comes first. And that was a lot of fun. And then the kids chose the cards. So, kind of show you a little bit of the game in action. Nothing super exciting with this one because it's just a lot of the snip and reaction, but I hope you like it. Explosion! Forgive the shakes here, I almost forgot one thing. The front of the game has an interface where you can push this red button once the game has started to get a clue. In order to incorporate that, hopefully this focuses as I zoom in. A little focal adjustment here. What happens is you're going to see that there's two things. One says diffuse is not, and one says danger wire is. So for 15 damage to the wall, they can get a clue if they believe that they're getting too close, there's not enough choices left, and from there people are had a high risk of detonating the bomb. So for 15 and you push that red button, you get a clue. One of the left white boxes will light up, so it'll say diffuse is not or danger wire is, and then one of the red, green, or blue lights will light up, or the triangle, circle, square. The triangle, circle, square means, and this is a little bit tricky to see. I'll see if I can focus. It's a bit tricky, but you can kind of see right where my finger is pointing right there, that green one has a triangle around it. This one has a square. You can kind of faintly see it. What that is for is to tell you the difference between red and green. So if it says diffuse is not green, diffuse is not triangle, to avoid green triangles, right? So that's another thing you can use. And again, the clue costs 15. Damage from the wall to access this clue, because you don't want it to be free or kids will use it every round. One other thing I like to do is, because sometimes kids will milk time in order to hopefully not have to cut a wire or delay it. So once I finish reading the question, I face my laptop to the group so they can all see it, and I'll play one of these videos. It's just a 1-minute bomb timer. If you just YouTube 1 minute dynamite or bomb timer, from the moment you finish speaking, they have 1 minute to answer the question, come up, cut, and defuse. If they don't do it in that 1 minute, the bomb blows up and they lose the 25, and their guild or their base gets raided of the 1 card, as explained earlier. This is a lot of fun because it keeps the game moving instead of delaying it. And you even have kids who realize that answering a guess is better than hesitating. So I've had people cut it at 1 second left and things like that, and they're good because they have little like bomb animations that blow up and flash and music and stuff. So this will add some pressure if you want, and you can even get like 30 seconds and stuff. So if you really want to crank it up, it's a ton of fun. So yeah, that's how I use Cut the Wire. Go ahead and get it before this thing ain't available anymore. I've heard it's on Amazon for a ton of money. I paid $11. They're liquidating them right now. It is January, January 25th, and these things are now getting a little bit harder to come by. So if you come across it, if you know someone who has it, get your hands on it. It's a great game for classes, and it can be used in a bunch of different ways. You can even develop quests and things where, in your narrative they come across a bomb. Every question they get right, they get a chance to snip the bomb to save some people. You could have a variety of different choices. So I would love to hear in the comments below how you use this, what you think. And until next time, people, I need to go get some rest.